going to look at archetypal criticism, which is yet another kind of literary criticism. Now, archetypal criticism is a branch of psychological criticism, and like psychological criticism focuses on individual subconscious, that is the subconscious mind of the individual. Archetypal criticism has to do with the collective unconscious. Now, it believes that there's a, as a community, we have an interconnected unconscious sensibility. And that is what archetypal criticism takes into consideration. So it examines texts to trace underlying mythological patterns. It believes that texts carry similar structures, they carry archetypes, and they embed or embody myths. So it is just the context and the style that keeps changing, but the themes are universal. They are, in fact, archetypal. Archetype would mean the original of which there are subsequent replications. So there can be subsequent copies, but there is one original, which is the archetype. Now, Jesse Weston and James Fraser were exponents of this approach of literary criticism. And in fact, it was the psychologist Carl Jung who propounded the theory of myths and archetypes. To give you a very simple example is an archetypal theme would be the struggle between good and evil. Now, whether you take plays into account or epics or films or very modern day fiction or even web series, you will find this archetypal struggle between good and evil. Some other archetypal situations could be someone who is being sent away on exile, or lovers who are dying. So these are some universal archetypes which are found across cultures, across communities, because these are part of universal myths. So in a way, archetypal criticism also borrows from structuralism, because it tries to trace structures in texts, and it tries to establish the fact that all texts bear some or the other kind of structure which other texts also have before them. So in that sense, all texts are part of a long tradition. Now, completely opposite to structuralism is post-structuralism and deconstruction, where archetypal criticism tries to find an essence, a center, a fixed meaning, and a fixed inference. Post-structuralism and deconstructionist approach is open-ended and indefinite. In fact, over here, to quote Nietzsche, Nietzsche says there are no facts, only interpretations. So this kind of a critical approach says that the text has no center, because every word within it carries its meaning and the meaning of the word that it is not. So, in other words, to make it clear, it would mean that if black is black only because it is not white, only because it is not red, not pink, not green. So the possibilities of not something are infinite. So that is why these critics believe that words are contaminated by their opposites. And the individual is, after all, a culturally and a linguistically created being. And the individual, therefore, does not have a center, does not have an essence. The individual is a product of cultural influences.